there, and the last little bone is a whole bunch of pieces. So, yeah, I know. Who thought jelly? So, I have to wear shoes. I discovered for the first time ever wearing socks in yoga. Not that comfortable, but without it, it's worse. So, here we go. New things every day. Welcome back to a lot of you. I'm glad that you're all here. The thing to know is that at the end of this week is our next edition of our Access Level Teacher Training. We say teacher training, and yet it's not just for people who want to teach. That's about 50% of the people who take it. The other 50% are people who are just drawn to do it. They don't really know why. Some end up teaching, and many it just makes a change and a difference in their life that they need it right now. So if it's for you, or you're not even sure if it's for you, just ask me some questions afterwards. I'm happy to share about the training. All right, let's just get started. Toes together, knees open, arms forward and your forehead down to the mat. Charles, come over here. One thing I do want you to know, many of you have the kind of packages that, here, you can use that mat too if you want to, that auto-renew, they're the annual packages, and you may not realize, but you have access to our whole digital catalog. And it's right there on the Mind Body app, and a few new surprises coming your way in the next couple of months. So take a deep breath in, and a long, steady breath out. Start developing your breathing, slow, steady, deep, rhythmic breath. And let your breath right now be an access point to the present moment. I never heard about that before my yoga practice, particularly this style. In fact, I was more in pursuit of not being present. I thought that was the good thing. And through the practice, I've learned what presence is and how to cultivate it, and then how to really use it powerfully, and we're going to do that in our practice today. So all you have to do right now is breathe and start to just notice the space between your ribs as you are breathing. And then while you're noticing that space, also press your hands into the mat and stretch your fingers out and wake yourself up all the way to the edge of your fingernails. On your next inhale, lift your body up into downward facing dog. Start to explore your foundation, your hands and your feet as you bend and straighten your knees, and start to take up length and width on your mat. And you can put your hands and feet in a spot that's not usual for you. When you're present, you get to be creative because you get to create with what is. So maybe what is right now is a little more space. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, look forward and step up to the front of your mat. And when you get there, inhale, lift up halfway and let the whole side of your body stretch. Then exhale, hang down. Now really keep your breath going. Sway from side to side. See if you can start to notice a warming up quality from your heels up the back of the body, over your skull, and all the way around to your eyebrows. You may need to turn on your imagination to start to notice some of the things that are really so in the space. You might need to use your imagination to imagine there is a warming up back in the back of your body until you start to detect the warming up. Now press your feet into the mat, and particularly the ball of your big toe, like the knuckle part of your foot where your big toe is, press it down. Press it down until the heat increases in your hips. You feel the backs of your legs, you feel the muscles of your hips all getting stronger, warmer, working. When you have that, press even more. Blow the air out until your belly button pulls into your spine. Use that same blowing out action of your belly button pulling in now to roll up to standing. So exhale and roll up. When you next inhale, reach up to the ceiling, even look up to the ceiling, breathe here. Press your feet into the mat. Paige, lift the front of your pelvis, the pit of your belly, yes, up, and chest up, and go back, and from your toes to your chin, Lily, just stretch. One more breath. Hands to prayer position at the center of your chest. Set your gaze at one point in the front of the room. Our overarching intention is one of presence and creativity today. You set your intention for the practice. 3 times we'll chant Om together. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, reach up, fold to the floor, exhale. Inhale, lift up halfway, chaturanga on the exhale. Now upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths. While we move through this sun salutation A, let the rhythm of movement and breath start to wake your body up. Just be present to what's so instead of deciding what is. Take one more breath in. Exhale, empty and look forward. Step or jump to the front of your mat. Then lift up halfway. Fold down. Press your feet. Stand up. Reach back. Fold to the floor. Exhale. Halfway lift. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe here. The rhythm of your breath and movement, and allow for there to be space in the breath and space in the movement. One more breath in. Breath out, look forward, jump. Halfway lift, fold. Extended mountain pose, reach up and go back. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank, empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Work with your foundation, hands, feet, and core. Press the knuckles of your fingers into the mat. One more breath in. Breath out, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Extended mountain pose. Fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So awaken to space, places to move, and places to just be still and hold space. One more breath in, breath out, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Extended mountain pose. Go back, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank. Active legs. Upward facing dog, stretch. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Start to really move energy through your own body and through the room. One more breath in. Breath out, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, sit and reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop into the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward and lunge. Take a big stance and a deep lunge. Charlie, straighten your back leg, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step. Everyone press the back edge of your back foot into the mat, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. While you're breathing, put your attention on your feet and imagine your inside ankle just sliding back, opening up the inner arch of your foot. One more breath in, breath out, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Chair pose, sit really deep and reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, drop into the low plank. So powerful legs here. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward and lunge. Warrior 1. Press your back foot into the mat and lift. Hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot, step forward. You can even bring your palms together and reach to just give extra stretch to your shoulders. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, Downward facing dog. Breathe here. You might even take a sigh and just clear the space. As we move through the next sun salutation B, really let yourself be connected to the people around you as you breathe and move. Take another breath in and out. Look forward and jump. Halfway lift, fold, chair pose, reach, fold to the floor. Inhale, lift and connect, chaturanga. Hover right here and connect. Then upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward, step, lunge, reach, and have a sense of being in the room, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now the left side, step and lunge, deep reach high, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, inhale, downward facing dog, and take a sigh. Clear your space. Breathe in, breathe out. One more time, inhale, bend your knees, squeeze them out with your hands and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Last time, chair pose, sit and reach, fold to the floor. Half lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward. Deepest lunge, palms together, stretch, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot step. Anchor your feet and reach up, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and breathe here. Yeah, take a breath, give it some volume, and sigh. Raise your right leg into the air, bend your knee, heel to your hip, and flip over 2 feet to the floor. Now really bring the breath into this pose. This is a pose that has the possibility of really opening up your ribs and your capacity to breathe. So press your feet and your one hand down, and then rise up out of that shoulder. There you go, Charles. Breathe and reach up and overhead. Let the pose feel like your whole body yawning. Then side plank, right hand down, face the left side of the room. So in the room toward the street, at home toward the left, and stack your body up. Make the space from your bottom heel, your left inner or outer edge of the foot, all the way up the underside of your torso to your armpit long. So underneath, length. You'll find the pose gets lighter if you make the length. That's it, Damien. Keep going there. You've got the right direction. One more breath. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Okay, take a sigh here. A sigh with Jill and Dana and Aaron and Kelly. Then the other side, left leg into the air. Bend your knee, heel to your hip, and flip it over. 2 feet to the floor. Press with your hand, press with your feet, rise up. It's so funny when I see some of you that I haven't seen in a while. I totally recognize you when your bodies start moving. It's more than your faces. Somebody in this pose could stand to take a sigh. I can hear some heavy breathing. So just take a sigh and let it just be easier. That's it. 2 more breaths. One more. Side plank, left hand down, face the right side of the room. When you're present, you don't do the poses to get the poses done. You do the poses as an access point to an experience. So right now you're in an access point to an experience of power, strength, ease, unlimited different things. Tap into what's available for you if you're just listening. One more breath, high plank to low. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Right foot forward to crescent lunge. So step your right foot forward. Arms overhead and bring your breath. Anytime you find your breath isn't there, it's escaped you, take a sigh and start again. Some of you could take a little longer stride. Colin, I think you could go a little longer there and you might have different access to your, oh, got it. Okay. Lift your belly up and go back. Yes, Ratana lunge. Yes. One more breath. Hands to prayer position, twist toward the right. So left elbow to your right knee. Get set up and then take breath. Really breathe here. I like that variation, Michael. Open your arms, bottom arm down, top arm up, and then just pull your arms apart. Make as much space through your chest as you can and breathe into your chest. Even Nikki in that side scissors variation, breathe. 2 more breaths here. Alex, lengthen your back left ribs. 1 more, then reach right back up to crescent lunge. Turn to warrior 2, so face the left. Ease up in the pose and then bend your right knee. Once you get your legs in the pose, so I always have to check in on my back leg, otherwise the pit of my belly is forward, so lift the pit of your belly. Then you can tilt to extended side angle, reach for the floor, reach for the ceiling. Just enough to get your arms pulling apart, your chest stretching open, and lunge deep, Kyle. Really deep, yes. Then reach your palm forward and arm over your head, so the whole way down your body. So left palm forward, reach overhead, the whole way down your body length. So much length. Press your back foot into the mat. So much. When it's pressing, reach both arms forward or keep your bind if you've got the binds. For everyone, chest open, eyes to the ceiling. 2 more breaths, deeper lunges, chest up, last breath, hands to the floor, chaturanga. I wish I had a camera there. You guys looked so good in that pose. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. What I mean by looked good is like the shapes were really nice, but there was this sense of aliveness. Step your left foot forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead. Pose by pose, you just invite aliveness. That's it. Let yourselves get settled in here. Really lunge down. Reach up and go back. Chest up if you can. Even elbows stretching, fingers stretching. Reach for the back of the room like you're going to pick something off the back top of those posters. That's it, Steph. Lift and go back like you're picking something. There you go. Hands to prayer position. Twist to the left. Right elbow, left knee. Anchor your elbow. Bring breath into the pose and then see what else you have access to. For a lot of you, it'll be just to lift your right hip up, level to your left hip. You can open the arms, half bind the pose or fully bind the pose. Take 3 more breaths. Just keep opening and breathing into your back right ribs. Stay for 1 more. Crescent lunge, reach up. Warrior 2. Set up the base of your pose. Front knee forward. There you go, Aaron Walker. Active back leg. Play with the pose. I have to oftentimes put more weight in my back leg, like really stand in it to get myself level over top of both sides. Tilt for extended side angle. You can take a bind if a bind is what's next for you. Whatever you're doing, challenge yourself. How would you know what the challenge is? To really breathe and listen into your body for where there's just a little more space. For everyone, power up the back leg. Activate it, press it into the floor, whatever it's going to be, and deep lunge into your front knee. Once the back foot is pressing into the floor so strong, the binds can open their chest up over their front thigh. Those that are ready to reach both arms to the front of the room. But have a connection. I see that, Jordan, from your back foot pressing, your top arm reaching. Whole body stretching. 2 more breaths. That's it. Last breath, stretch, nice work. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Walk your feet halfway up your mat and make a diamond shape with your legs, so tippy toe. Fingers grip the floor. On the inhale, bend your knees. On the exhale, tippy toe and lean into your fingers. Or inhale, bend your knees, and exhale, take a little hop, stacking your hips on top of your fingers. Or take the full little bunny hop to the half handstand. 10 times. Are you ready? Jump for 10. 9. Nice and controlled. 8. Diamond-shaped legs. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Front of your mat, forward fold and hang. You can fold your arms and sway from side to side. And breathe. Put your fingertips on the ground and set your feet a comfortable width and look at them and make sure they're parallel to each other. And right here, rock the weight into your heels so your toes are light on the floor. And then sit your hips way back. You may need to fingertip your fingers a little more forward to get seated deeply. So sit way back, like your butt reaching to the back room, like it's going to stand on the back wall way there. Now while you're here, don't move your torso, just take a breath in, blow the air out, and lift the pit of your belly off of your thighs and into your body. Breathe there. Next breath, bring yourself up to chair pose. So stay way back in your thighs. Way back in your thighs and your heels. Hands to prayer, twist toward the right. Left elbow outside of your right thigh. While you're in the twist, that little move you did earlier when your belly was on your thighs and you took a breath and blew out and drew it in, do that here. Right here in the twist. Then twist a little further. Open your arms if you're going there and haven't done it yet. You have 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. Stretch this space long. Last breath. Reach up chairs. Deep sit, forward fold. Hook your big toes and stretch down. Take a sigh. Clear your attitude, your space. Let your body just be and feel what it's feeling. Take another breath and another sigh. Put your fingertips on the ground in front of you, so it's like a foot in front of you maybe. And then put the weight into your heels. And then reach your hips back, like it's a tug of war between your hands and hips as to whether you'll fall over. It's like a bear squat. Then breathe in and blow out and feel your abdominal muscles lift off of your thighs. Try that again. Breathe in, breathe out, and gather your abdominal muscles. Keep them. Inhale, reach up to chair pose. Hands to prayer twist. Right elbow, left knee. Let your breath flow. That's it. Work with the room around you to breathe until the whole room is breathing. Take whichever variation you're taking and be for the pose and breathe. Breathe 5 breaths. Chest open. 4, sit deep. Keep breathing. That's it. This is the last breath. The last breath in this pose. Forward fold and hang. Stand on your palms. They're groaning in here if you guys can't hear them at home. Kelly and Aaron. Jill, are you groaning at home? I miss seeing you in the studio. Okay, stand on your hands. Palms all the way underneath of your hands, toes to your wrists. Shake your head out. That's it, Grace. Let your head hang. You might even need a sigh here. Just let it be like a waterfall down your back, just a cascading off, a letting go of, and leaving behind space, a lightness, a freedom, a quality of freedom. Release your hands. Either take crow pose or 10 more of those hop half handstands, or maybe if you end up catching some air, you hold the half handstand for 10 breaths. Aren't you glad you came, Michael? Yeah, it's a good thing to be here on a Saturday. Everyone take your thing, take your pose, and here we go for 10, 9. Now the crow pose can be done seated. 8. That's it, handstands. Keep going. 7, 6, control it. The more control you have, the longer you'll end up holding it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chaturanga for everyone. If you're in the handstand, you can drop to the chaturanga. Upward facing dog. It's easier than you think. Downward facing dog. Take 1 breath in, 1 breath out, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Press your feet, roll up to standing, sweep your arms overhead. Right side eagle pose. Wrap your right arm under, squat down, wrap your right leg over. Sit really deep. Get to the space in the pose where you can really feel your body working. And breathe. This is a set of poses called equanimity, and there's a quality of equilibrium to establish between the efforts of your body and the efforts of your breath, between effort and ease. Switch sides, left arm under, left leg over. Just keep your breath flowing. You can do anything. So when you start to get a little tired and your breath starts to get quick, instead of blocking out the experience or imagining yourself further forward in time, stay right in it and feel what you feel. Squat down deeper until you're right in the space of the pose, right in the feeling area of the pose. Step out, hug your right knee into your chest. Just go right for it without a whole lot of shifting around. Keep your eyes on one point, pick up your knee. And then we'll do it this way for strength today. So when you inhale, stretch your arms overhead and press your foot forward. Try not to lean backwards. Try to stand straight and tall, arms overhead. Take a breath. As you exhale, toes another inch higher, stand tall. An inch higher, stand tall. Hug your knees into your chest, airplane pose. Breathe here. So we'll stay in the pose until we all get connected in our breathing. Press your standing foot down, lift your chest and breathe. Breathe until you can hear yourself and feel yourself breathing, until you know you're expanding your chest and upper back. One more breath. Hands to prayer, half moon. Left arm down, right arm up. Stay with the breathing that you created. Listen to the people around you breathe. Their breath is such an anchor to the moment. Then with your breath, all the way out to your extremities, your fingertips and your toes, wake up. Wake up your fingers, wake up your toes, so your whole body electrified. Maybe look up, stretch. If you fall out, no problem. Breathe, forward fold and hang. It's actually impressive how long you guys held that, all of you. Sway from side to side. It's what happens when you work together and you're present. You can do a lot of things. Press your feet into the ground, come rolling up to standing, hug your left knee into the chest. So the knee hug is for you to get standing tall. Instead of being leaned backwards, it's for you to really hug in and stand tall. Take a breath in. On the exhale, press your foot forward and sweep your arms overhead. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, press. Breathe here. Imagine there are just some fingertips at the bottom of your shoulder blades, lifting your chest from the back up to the ceiling. One more breath. Hug your knee into your chest, airplane pose. Now keep the breath going right from here. If you need a sigh, take the sigh. Try the pose with a lot of breath. Expand your chest and upper back. Hands to prayer position. Half moon, right hand down, left arm up. You be right in the experience of the pose. It's different than what you should do and not should do. Instead, it's a whole expression of aliveness. 3 more breaths. Whole expression of aliveness. Breathe with the people around you. 2 more. 1 more. Forward fold and hang. That's all right if you reached your limit and your edge. We're looking for that. Sway from side to side. Come on up to standing. Sweep your arms overhead. Right arm behind you, standing bow pose, right on the right side. Left arm in the air. Start with your knees together. Press down with your standing foot and reach up with your lifting hand, and then stretch. Every time you breathe with the exhale, take a sigh while you build the pose. Every time you take a sigh, just let go of the holding on. See if the pose will hold you instead of you holding it. When you get to that, it's pretty magical. Kick back and rise up. Three more breaths. Stay with it. You thought we were finished, didn't you, Michael? One more. Step out. Switch sides. Left arm behind you. You don't have to take a break between the 2 sets. You could just go one right into the other. Now you're on to me. Kick back and rise up. You got to reach. Kick, Gracie, your shoulder's not even going. You've got so much room. Press. So let your shoulders be pulled apart like they're a bow and arrow. Yeah, the arrow shooting through the bow. Yeah, there. Keep going. Drive. Now you can feel your heart rate changing, right? So if you're comfortable, kick a little further. Go with Gracie. Kick back, pull your shoulders apart, rise up. Wait, 3 more breaths. You didn't get the 3 more breaths. 2 more. She's staying with it. The whole body's getting electrified. 1 more. Okay, step out. Put your feet on the floor, hands to your hips. Breathe. Isn't it a good feeling? It took some work to get there, but it's worth it. Take a sigh. Tree pose. Left foot on the floor, right foot to your left inner thigh. Interlace your hands, press your palms forward, and reach your arms overhead in this tree pose. Standing foot into the mat, and especially your big toe. Press the ball of your big toe into the mat. There you go, Jody. Now, one is pressing down. You lift the front of your pelvis. Yep, that's it, Paige. Lift your chest. Got it, Megan? Yes. Lift up and go back. Lift your chest up and go back, Becky and Steph. That's it. Up and go back and switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. Tree pose can just sort of be a filler pose, or it can be really the punctuation on the end of this set of poses that are about equanimity or equality or a balance between the actions of the breath, the actions of the body, space, effort, ease, whole body pulled apart, and yet something about it so easy. Stay in the pose. Stay in the pose and breathe. Just let yourself expand your chest and upper back. 1 more breath. Step out, come to the front of your mat. Inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Drop into the chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, right foot forward, a big stride straight into the triangle pose. Right hand on the block or floor behind your right ankle. Left arm in the air. 3 breaths here, whether you open it up, broaden the base, up to you. 2 more. Tina, soften your front knee a little bit and press into your big toe, just a little bit. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the long left side of your mat for standing wide leg forward fold. Fold down. Feet parallel to the short sides. Tippy toe your fingertips in front of you till there's a little bit of weight in those. Then inhale and exhale, settle the weight back into your heels. Now just breathe. From your baby finger up through to your hip crease. Breathe and let there be space between each one of your ribs, in the area of your armpit, all the way down to your finger. Take a breath and a sigh. Come on up to standing and face the front of your mat for the standing single leg forward fold. So right foot forward, make sure there's some length between your feet, arms behind your back and hands in prayer position, chest up and fold. Jen, you could take a longer stance. Yes, so you have to work the square hips, that's it. Good, breathe. The split on the floor is a perfectly good choice. Activate both of your feet. So the front one pointing up, the back one turning under with square hips. There you go, Alex. Breathe. Good, I see all kinds of variations in the room. Wherever you are in your variation, from your front heel to your front sitting bone, breathe and make length. Yes, Megan, that's just a perfect assist. Twisting triangle. Keep your legs, put your left hand on the block and floor, and turn your body toward the right. We want to keep the legs, so keep some weight in your back leg. If you can, shift a little weight back, Colin. Yep. And drag both hips back. Wherever you are, last breath in, exhale, open, then hands to the floor, switch sides, left side triangle. You can take the vinyasa if you want, or just left foot forward, set up the triangle pose. Bring length to the base of the pose. That's it, Kelly. Yep. Back heel out. So you get this deep, deep crease in the front hip. Colin, you could go longer. So how would you go longer incrementally? And what's the first increment? It's in your back foot to pick your heel up. Yes, Suzanne, pick your heel up and swing it out toward the back of the room and anchor the whole of the foot, all 4 corners. 2 more breaths. Chest open, let it fall open. Come on up to standing. Turn to the right and face the long right side of the mat. Arms behind you, either interlaced or holding the strap. Feet parallel to the short sides. Lift your chest and fold. There you go. See who's back here. Yeah, Susan, open your heels a little more. That's it. You might take a few sighs to just allow for a little bit more release of your shoulders. So activate your feet as though your legs were going to slide feet together to the center line. Use that action to come up to standing. Then turn to face the front of the room for the standing single leg forward fold, hands in prayer position behind your back. Chest open and fold. I always pay attention to my front foot, all four corners pressing, particularly my big toe and my heel, and just keeping a little softness to the front knee. From the ball of my big toe to my front leg's sitting bone, I want a connection there. I want to sense that whole line of stretch. And then just keep breathing and seeing what else there is to see. Good. Twisting triangle, right hand down to the block or the floor. Always good to have your block and your strap at your mat. You might not use it for a couple of weeks, then all of a sudden use it in every pose. Hip back. Keep pulling your left hip back. For most people, a little more action of the left hip back. So front foot's big toe down, hip back, yes. One more breath in, breath out. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. It's a devilish laugh. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Just take one breath, come to the high plank and lower to your belly on the mat for locust pose. You can keep your toes turned under like they are for crescent lunge. Take your arms behind and interlace your fingers. Then activate your legs and lift your chest up. Any back bend requires that you have your feet at 12 o'clock. So why don't you anchor your feet to the floor like they are in a push-up and get the sense of how when they're anchored, the back of your pelvis broadens. The front of your pelvis closes. It doesn't get more broad. And then while you hold this for 5 more breaths, feet back like they're standing on the back wall, chest to the front wall, make as much length in your side body as you can. You've only got about 2 more breaths to bring life into the pose. Last one, come on down. Good work. It's okay to hold poses for a little longer. There's a consensus in the room, Kelly, that they're not allowed to hold poses for a long time. Just so you know. She might want to invite that tomorrow a little bit. Bend your knees, reach back, hold your ankles. So now we've got that already, that sense of the broad back of the pelvis. Keep that here. That means your knees need to stay pretty close together. Press back, just let your arms hang and kick up. Yes. Good. Kick back and kick up. You got it? Big toes to the ceiling. I almost have to look backwards to get that to happen. I just can't make that brain-body connection without my eyes yet. If you're doing one side at a time, switch the sides. Otherwise, stay in the pose. Here we go. 5 more breaths. What else would there be when you lose the ability to resist? When you just come into what is and feel what you're feeling and work with that. Take the last 2 breaths and then come down. Feet go side to side. There you go. Now upward facing dog to downward facing dog. We'll take 1 set of camel pose. So come to your knees. Give yourself an assist. So on the outsides of your thighs, from your knee, slide your fingertips up your thighs, through your hips, up your waist, all the way to your armpits, and hook your armpits with your thumbs and lift your chest. So you'll have to lift the pit of your belly, lift your chest while you press your knees down into the ground. That's it. Keep lifting up and going back. You might just stay here. You won't need to put your hands on your hips necessarily because you're so strong in your middle. Maybe hands to your feet. That's it. Lift the pit of your belly, Charles. Yep, Adam. Keep lifting the front of your pelvis. Up and back. 1 more breath. That's it, Dave. Chest up, come out of the pose, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Take a breath and a sigh. 1 more. And then on the last one, a third one, just jump through your hands, sit down, and roll onto your back for bridge pose. Once you're on your back, put your feet on the floor, ankles under your knees. Press your feet into the mat and rise up. Get your shoulders tucked underneath of your body. Interlace your hands. Bring some breath into the pose from here. When we give some of our different foot instructions, one of them is kind of a weird one. It's one where we'll say, inner ankles back. So imagine right now, someone's fingertips were right on the inside edge of your big toe, and they just gave a sweeping motion back across your arch to your heel. Imagine that's happening in your own body, and how that might make more space in the back of your pelvis. Take another breath, and come on down, knees side to side. Up again, press yourself up into bridge, and from there we're going to go to wheel. You can set your feet pretty wide. Get that sense or quality of your inner ankles, the inside, from the big toe to the heel, moving back, the back of your pelvis having more width. Then we'll set up the hands for wheel pose. Set your hands as wide as your mat and deep under your shoulders. Press down and rise up. And then in your hands, now they're just a second set of feet. Inner ankles back means from the fingernail of your thumb back through the knuckle toward your wrist, a sweeping back quality. Actually, the quality will come from your wrist through to your thumbnail. Tuck your chin and come on down. Take a breath. Let's do it again. Press down, come on up. Let's get up there. Do the pose to discover something new for yourself. So inner ankles back, big toe through the arch to the heel, or from the wrist down the thumb to the thumbnail. What's the quality of them being able to stand in the four corners of your hands? Tuck your chin and come down. Knees side to side. We do the poses only to discover, for no other reason. Press your hands and feet onto the floor and come back up. Approach it with curiosity, a sense of childish wonder. What's possible in this pose for me today? What's available for me in this pose today? Just that sweeping sense from the wrist through the thumb to the pointer finger. Tuck your chin and come down. Knees side to side. We're going to take two more. Put your hands and feet on the floor. Press down. Rise up. Hands and feet on the floor. Press down, rise up. Inner ankles back from the toe through to the heel, the wrist through to the thumb. What does that change as far as broadening the back of the shoulders and the back of the pelvis? One more breath. Tuck your chin and come down. We'll just do one more. Are you ready? Press down and rise up. This is the last one, your last chance to discover space in the back of your body through a wheel or a bridge pose. Breathe 5 breaths here. Squeeze. Inner ankles back. Squeeze into your big toe. Press it down. Last breath. Tuck your chin. Come down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Yeah, take a sigh. Whether it's a sigh with a little moan and groan, a sigh with a little flutter of the lips, just a big, loud sigh. Let yourself be easy. Dead bug pose. Hold the outer edges of your feet. Pull your knees back to your shoulders and rock from side to side. You get to practice these tools of presence where you're really experiencing life as it's unfolding, processing it, passing it on. It's a really powerful way to make your way through a pose, a practice, or a day. Legs straight up in the air, curl up, try to touch your big toenail with your fingertips. So bring your heels to the front of the room. Don't cheat by bringing your heels close to your face. Okay, here we go. Every time you exhale, you're going to just curl up and touch your toes if you can. Ready? And go. Go up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your right leg to hover above the floor. So it shouldn't hurt or pull at your lower back. It comes up higher if you're feeling pain in your lower back. Curl up. Reach to the baby toe side of your left foot and go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees, rock back and forth, and come up into boat pose. All the way up into boat pose. In a second, we're going to do high boats and low boats, and what you're going to need is both on the going back and coming up, blowing out and pulling your belly in so your body kind of hollows rather than it staying in this stiff boat position and just crashing back. So breathe in, exhale, pull your belly in, go to low boat. Stay here, breathe in, exhale, suck your belly in, come to high boat. There you go. Low boat, breathe in, exhale, come high. Breathe in, exhale, go low. Breathe in, exhale, come high. 2 more, go low and high, low and high. Hug your knees, rock back and forth and through to downward facing dog. All the way. Doesn't that feel good? I think it does. Downward dog, right leg forward. Right leg forward, pigeon pose. So now we come to a set of opening poses. And we've done a lot of work using our physicality to keep us experiencing and present. And those are really definite tools for a definite outcome. We have less of that tool going on now. There's less busyness to kind of distract us and pull our attention into the room. But yet you can stay here. You can open up to the possibility of being able to be present now because you've practiced it. You have access to it. You know where it is. Hear what you hear. Feel what you feel. And switch sides. Just right to the other side. Left leg forward. Left leg forward. So put yourself in the way of the pose, like right where the action is. You'll know that spot. And you'll know it's different from like a place where there may be injury, like forcing your knee, for example. You'll be really clear that it's the edge of your comfort zone, different from your injury zone. And then you just keep in place the principles. And the one we're working with the most is we're using drishti and breath for the intentionality of presence. Breathe. Take a breath. Let it out. Sit on your left hip, swing your right leg around for double pigeon, and then just go for it. So you probably have a way that you know your body does do double pigeon, and the invitation is to discover it. As you place each body part in position, you continue to breathe and set your drishti to discover what's possible. So what's possible doesn't always have to be the most folded up and flexible or hard strength version of the pose. It may be a variation that you uncover for yourself because it just feels right. So some of the variations might look like the bottom leg staying straight, the top leg folding over it so your legs look like a number 4 and you just sit up tall. You'll feel a lot of action, even if you're feeling like a very flexible person. I can feel it stretching from my heel to my sitting bone. That's it, Dave. And then your hands at your lower back just to help you sit up out of the back of your pelvis. So we continually, pose by pose, we're working to create space in the lower back of the pelvis area. This is no different. Take one more breath here, and then boat pose, all the way up to boat pose for 10 breaths. So 10, breathe, set your gaze, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. See if you can straighten your legs. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Double pigeon on the other side. So that may mean now your left leg straight and your right leg bent, sitting up tall. Breathe here. That's it. Be gentle with yourselves. Really deep listening here because a lot of you have yourselves at the edge of your comfort zone. And that also means your knee is at the edge. You have to really listen not to take your knee somewhere it shouldn't be. So sit up, legs wide, so a seated wide leg forward fold. So take your legs really wide. Sit up onto the front edge of your sitting bones rather than sitting back on the squish of your glutes. Sit up. And so for some, that just means hands at your lower back, putting some pressure into the floor so you can lift your chest, or start to hinge forward. So you feel from your pubic bone all the way up to your front spine to your chin, a lot of length. Just work with whatever's showing up in your body right now. There's no victory in it looking different. Get into the space of the experience. Good. So many variations. Deepen the pose. Take a breath in and exhale. Try that again and use the exhale as a space for just letting go. Sigh. Keep your right leg long, bend your left leg, seated single leg extensions. So left leg bent, fold over your right leg. You've got your tools around you. If your left knee's hanging in the air, go ahead and put a block under it so that it's got support. You got it. You can bend your long right knee to reach to your toes. Go as far into the pose as you go by relaxing and deepening in that way. Breath in. Exhale. Switch sides. That's it. Let yourself breathe in the pose. Two legs in front of you, forward fold. Tabletop. Press down to rise up. Sit down, roll onto your back. Plow pose. All the way overhead to plow pose. From plow, you can take on shoulder stand. Let's take handstand. Start to roll out onto your flat back. So come down into the deaf man's pose. Take your time. Roll out. Once you get to there, hug your knees into your chest. Drop your knees to the left and look to the right. Once you get into your simple twist, take a breath and a sigh. And And then switch sides. Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet together, knees out wide. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. You have a cold eye towel near you. You're welcome to use that. It's to your right or to your left. Yours is beside you, Jody. And then Shavasana, legs out long and wide. One of my favorite quotes that seems to have been a guiding, overarching theme of my whole experience of practicing yoga comes from an author. Her name is Anise Nin. You might have heard this one before. But she said, and then the day came when the effort to remain closed tight as a bud was more painful than the effort to blossom. Pose by pose, breath by breath, right here, the effort to stay in thinking outside of the space in this moment in time is more difficult than to just let go and let be. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Another breath in. This time as you exhale, squeeze your fingers and toes and just mark this space. Then you can roll your head from side to side or reach your arms overhead, but ultimately hug your knees into your chest. Roll to your side and bring yourself up into a sitting position. Once you're sitting tall, sweep your arms overhead and then bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest. You can close your eyes and give yourself another opportunity to reflect inward and feel what you feel. And from here, set an intention for the rest of your day. Your intention can serve as a North Star. Then we'll create a sea of 3 ohms. So we'll start together, but you let each one come out of you as it does. We won't necessarily end together. So take a deep breath in. more. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. One breath more together. Breathe in and breathe out. Namaste. Thank you so much for playing along. It was good to have you all. I don't know if I reminded you of this already or not, but all of you that have annual memberships, auto-renewing memberships, you have access to our entire digital platform, and we have a lot of new things coming your way in the next couple of months. So figure out where it is and check out what we've got there. There's already a lot of good stuff, and you can learn more, practice 20 minutes, meditation, all kinds of stuff. Thank you, Kelly and Erin, who's left with me still. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you maybe tomorrow in class. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Bye, guys.